From safety stories to snowstorms, wildlife rescues to worm toilets. Yep, we're really talking about worm toilets. This year we covered a ton, and today we're taking a look back at the great stories shared by the people who keep New York State moving. The New York State Department of Transportation presents the DOT POD.
And welcome into this special edition of the DOT POD. I'm Josh Heller.
And I'm Anya Cardos.
And we are delighted to have you joining us as we're wrapping up our second full year of the podcast. And frankly, Anya, what a year it's been.
I know. It's been so much fun. I can't believe we've done this for 2 years already.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I know. It's crazy.
Over the past 12 months, we've shared stories that go beyond the roads, bridges, and airports, highlighting the people, the passion, and the purpose that drive DOT every single day.
I know. We've covered worker safety, wildlife rescues, dirty jobs, as well as airport upgrades and innovative snow and ice responses, and much, much more. This year's episodes really showcase the heart and ingenuity behind the people in this department. So today we're taking a look back, highlighting some of the special moments of 2025 with our own year in review. Josh, can you hit that applause button?
Let's get started.
All right. As a big part of 2025, we were celebrating milestones and innovations. That's for sure. Lots of milestones.
Yeah, and on DOT's I-81 project in Syracuse and the groundbreaking I-81 Connect app are a true standout in that regard. Our projects and initiatives, they're deeply rooted in our communities. And this app links users to everything they need to know about the project, which is the largest one to date. It truly exemplifies our promise to meeting the people where they are.
When I applied for the position, it was one of the things that I brought up in my interview is that, this project needs an app just because I feel like that is, in terms of modern day technology, that's the best way to communicate with people. You see people all day long walking around with a phone in their hand, and being able to push notifications about this project to their phone is to me, it made the most sense to help people understand what's going on with the project. And another thing that I felt I was very was passion of mine was, I'm a Black woman, and this project, affected my community years ago and, through the generations. And so now I get to play a part in helping that and reconnecting these communities. And one of the things that I know about the community, again, they don't have a lot of the technology that some of us take for granted, like a computer, a laptop, and a desktop, right. Sometimes in their home. They don't have those type of things, and they don't have, access to internet in their home. But what they do have is they have their phone. And that is a great way for us to talk to them through the phone, through an app that's free. They download it. They have all sorts of other apps that they've downloaded. So this was just another way that I thought, this is a way I can help my community understand what's going on with this project.
We also celebrated milestones and ribbon cuttings at 9 upstate airports that are bolstering local economies and tourism, and they're really helping these facilities better compete on a national and really even on a global stage.
Yeah, and Anya, you and I have actually seen some of these transformations from their early beginnings during site visits and groundbreakings, which is a part of our role here at DOT.
Yeah, I know a lot of people may not know that, but that is a part of our job as public information specialists. We do site surveys for events.
We do, and I got to be honest, especially with these ones, it's been really cool to see kind of soup to nuts, beginning to end, tip to tail, how these projects have come and the differences that we've seen.
Right. It's really cool to kind of see, I know we say this a lot, but it's kind of like how the sausage is made, like behind the scenes at these airports. And some of them really needed this kind of help. And thanks to Governor Hochul's $230 million upstate airport economic development and revitalization competition, the New York State Department of Transportation is administering funding to spearhead these very transformative projects. And we got to learn a ton about what went into these projects.
We're expanding terminal space for TSA security screening. That's a big thing because nobody wants to wait on those long lines and go through security checkpoint. Updating the airline ticketing, baggage claim areas, right? Those are all things that as travelers we all experience on a regular basis. Updating and or adding car rental counter space. It's important too. Every destination you go to, you need to rent a car. And adding more departure and arrival gates at terminals, right? That's we have examples where bump outs have been added to the terminal to add more seating space for people waiting for their flights to board the plane. And obviously adding more concessions, amenities, because as a traveler, you spend a lot of time at the terminal. You're looking for a place to eat, grab a drink, something, right? So you need more of that at the terminals.
Well, we go from airports to animals. Now, we all love animals, right?
Oh,
We all
I love
wildlife.
animals.
Who doesn't, right? On the DOT POD, we explored how DOT teams protect wildlife from creating wildlife crossings that keep both drivers and animals safe.
So we know how important roadways are for our daily lives, and they really are an extensive network throughout the landscape. And it's great for our convenience and what we need for our economies and just daily life. It's not so great for wildlife. That's a really hard thing to navigate on the landscape. And what that results in is, and this is, I would argue, largely underestimated, but New York State citizens strike about 70,000 white-tailed deer annually.
Whoa.
So 70,000, and each one of those strikes is estimated somewhere between $4,000 to $19,000. So what that translates to is 70,000 times whichever metric that these researchers have come up with, and some are different numbers than others for, including different metrics, like the cost of the animal, the property damage that was inflicted, whether there's an injury or fatality, human or otherwise. And that's billions of dollars, and for New York State alone, it's about $1 billion a year, we estimate, that we expend alone.
We've also talked to employees who help to rescue animals, including a hawk and a cute baby deer that one of our maintenance workers named after the roadway where the animal was found on State Route 149.
It did feel good. And, being a hunter myself, the last thing you ever want to see is an animal suffer. And so it was nice to be able to help 149, and hopefully 149 grows up to be a big, successful deer.
The sanctuary told us to cover the hawk with a sweatshirt, pick it up out of the road, which we did. We stopped traffic. We had state police who are always in our work zones helping us. Stopped traffic, and we covered the hawk with a sweatshirt, picked it up, put it in a box, and brought it over to our truck. And they said they would be down in 15 minutes as long as it was safe for them to pull into the work zone.
Through it all, one message shines through at DOT. We are about much more than just transportation.
And that's something our commissioner, Marie-Therese Dominguez, shares all the time, like when she was on the podcast to talk about the department's budget and the care and concern taken to ensure that taxpayer dollars are spent wisely and with the public front and center of mind.
All this is focused on the governor's vision for a New York that's a safer, healthier, and more affordable place to live, ultimately improving the quality of life for all residents of this wonderful state.
What the governor did, rather, in her budget proposal was put forward an additional $800 million to our capital plan. What does that do? It restores our purchasing power. As we've executed our plan coming out of COVID, we've seen price hikes in different areas, et cetera. The $800 million is to allow us to complete our 5-year capital plan that we started 3 years ago. That capital plan is literally the core of what our program is all about, in the sense that there are projects in every part of the state really getting at our assets, whether they're road and bridge assets or any kind of, sometimes we do work in villages that are truly remarkable and transformational. But it's really getting at all those elements, those programs, those projects that the legislature, based on information the DOT provides, based on our assets and our asset conditions, we provide information to the legislature. The legislature and the governor then at the end of, as they're crafting the 5-year capital plan, put together a list of projects. That's what we execute on over 5 years. Having $800 million allows us to get to over the next 2 years and really making sure that we can deliver everything in a timely way.
Well, we often hear from the commissioner saying that safety is the most important thing, the number one priority at DOT. And we talk a lot about it on the podcast as well, from our workers to the traveling public, and how we prepare for emergencies with staging drills across the state.
And these drills really, we've seen them in action. They aren't just routine exercises. They're basically like big rehearsals for people who haven't seen them for real events ranging from hurricanes and floods to snowstorms and lots of other emergencies. We also talked about the future of safety, exploring major factors in crashes and how to get us to the ultimate goal of zero fatalities on our roadways.
Looking at, like Rob was saying, our clear data, our crash data, we look at those contributing factors. And is it a human factor? Is it an engineering factor? And what can we do with countermeasures? There's these proven nationwide, guidance that talks about certain contributing factors and how do we implement those countermeasures? And that's what becomes our projects. That becomes our safety studies, and that all plays into that.
So part of these staging drills is making sure that we have all those contacts, and that we actually sit down and go through just a drill, pretending that it was an actual situation where we're going to have to bring all these resources together. And it gives you a chance on a calm day to sit down and have some conversations about what you would do during the course of an emergency. Make sure that the names and telephone numbers that you had previously had are still appropriate. So it gives us an ability to practice for when that next emergency event occurs.
And I bet a lot of folks don't know that the New York State Department of Transportation also plays a crucial role in keeping our rail system safe. And we spoke with our rail inspector team about how they monitor New York's rail infrastructure. We also took time to talk to our Motor Carrier Compliance Bureau, who are out there on the roads day in and day out, making sure that those roads are safe for you and me.
We basically look at the vehicles. We're looking at carriers. We're looking at brakes, tires, lights. We also look at the driver, make sure that he's not tired and fatigued. We look at their license. We can actually see past inspections from all across North America to make sure that if they're coming from another state, that they're safe to go through this state also.
So in terms of rail safety, we started back in 1910 under the Public Service Commission. And then kind of like what we see today started back in 1970 with the Rail Safety Act, the feds passed. That kind of is where the framework of what we have today. So all the feds decided to start to regulate the industry, and because of that, we have what's called the State Participation Program, where it allows the states to participate and inspect railroads within their state.
And let's get to one of our favorites. Who could forget our Dirty Jobs episode, right, Josh? That was a really fun one.
That was a really fun one. It was a really interesting one. It was also kind of a gross one. But
I
think that was the point.
But...
I think that was the point. And let's be honest, these are jobs that are not for the faint of heart or stomach. Like removing animal carcasses from our state highways. It's essential, no question, but who knew this kind of work is also a remarkable story of environmental sustainability and composting?
That's right. We also went to the Southern Tier Welcome Center in Kirkwood, New York, which features a worm composting toilet system. That was the most, I loved that, by the way. Going into the bowels, literally.
So to speak.
so to speak of that place and seeing what went on there. And you definitely do not want to drop, here's a tip for everyone. You don't want to drop your cell phone there. We learned how they retrieved the items out of the toilet composting bins located in the basement. Here's a little bit of that.
Well, it's a composting system. So what we have downstairs is each toilet and urinal has its own composting tank downstairs. So within each tank, we have worms. And the worms, they eat up all the feces. And we add wood chips to it to help give the worms a chance to breathe and it not turn swampy or turn into like a septic system.
Some people carry Vicks and they rub the Vicks under their nose to not smell the natural smells. Earplugs, they will work, but they're not foolproof.
Talking about earplugs in the nose.
Yes,
gotcha.
Earplugs in the nose.
Okay.
Sorry. So that does help. My line of defense usually is I do not breathe through my nose. I only breathe through my mouth and as little as possible, because then you almost kind of taste it to some extent.
Who knew that earplugs could be more than just for ears? I suppose that is Ingenuity and at its finest.
Those
at its
earplugs
finest.
are playing double duty.
No
there.
question. So we're heading into snow and ice season here in New York, though when are we not? And we recently delved into how the New York State Department of Transportation is leading the charge when it comes to sustainability. And sustainability initiatives are paving the way for a greener future during our snow and ice response.
Yeah, we started, our salt management pilots back in 2018, talking about the use of best management practices, and then expanded into also the use of direct liquids only beats, which I think we had a podcast on that with Mike Krager here talking about that.
Mike Krager, yeah.
And this year we're really doubling down on our need to manage salt much more effectively by the use of our best management practices. We had a statewide managers meeting back in September, or was it August now? My days all blend together. Actually, I think it was August.
Yeah, I think it was August because I was there with you guys. So yeah, end of August, early September.
And, we hadn't done that in over 15 years. And it was really profound for us to bring all of our regional managers into one location, all of our residency managers and bridge maintenance managers, bring them into one location to talk about the need to make sure we're using our best management practices everywhere that it's possible to do. And, as part of that, Joe did a presentation on our salt management efforts. And we also had a panel discussion with some snow and ice managers, some of our more seasoned managers, where we had just a Q&A. And, and Anya, as part of that, you were gracious enough to be the moderator for that discussion. And I think it was a really good discussion for everyone in the room, as well as for our program to have that talk.
Josh, you and I say this a lot, and it really is true. True passion is really behind the work that we all see being done there each and every day. And over the past 12 months, we've learned about newly formed DOT women's groups. That was an amazing episode. They're there to help support fellow colleagues, and initiatives like our Veterans Liaison program that is really helping to connect our DOT veterans with the support they and their families need and deserve.
What about if we meet regularly and sit and talk? We're not meeting a work meeting per se. We're getting together. We're sitting in a very relaxed atmosphere and we're talking. And no topic is off limits. Whatever we want to talk about, we talk about to help each other, to support each other, to lift each other up.
Yeah.
Right?
So I was asked about a year and a half ago from the commissioner to be the Veteran Service Liaison for the department. So that my job or my role would be to be the liaison for the DOT to New York State Veterans Services, another agency within the state. So when I took that role on, we've never had that before here at the DOT, and I accepted it. I accepted it very fast, and I was excited for it because you talked about and I talked about as a first sergeant, I was there to help the people, right, and service doesn't stop when you retire or you get out of the military. You want to make sure that our veterans are taken care of as long as they're alive. So that really hits home to me, and I really want to continue to bring that service out from being a first sergeant in the unit to now when I'm with the department, I can continue to give that service to our employees. So taking this role on was no question. So with that, I started building a program here at the department, and really I wanted to educate, right? A lot of veterans don't understand what benefits they have. It's kind of hard to get through all the bureaucracy of items that they're entitled to. So I listed out a few goals I wanted to do and submitted that proposal to the commissioner, and the commissioner stands behind this program 100%.
Sometimes our projects reveal what life was like hundreds, even thousands of years ago, and we really dug into the kind of discoveries that are being made as we shape our transportation system. During a discussion about our cultural resources and how DOT is helping to preserve and highlight them for generations to come.
We didn't really find a ton of food remains that I remember, but stone tools they found, also some non-local sources, which shows that this area was an important location for trade up and down the river, probably over an extended period of time. Yeah, but essentially what we did is, as part of our mitigation commitments, we actually ended up learning a whole lot about the past and the environment that was already there. So that was in. We wouldn't necessarily have done that if there was another survey. If we didn't have to do the survey, we never would have known that.
We also shared stories of longtime employees like Ed Donovan.
One of my all-time favorite episodes.
I know you love this one, and I do too. Okay, so get this. Ed has more than 6 decades under his hard hat, so to speak. He has seen it all, from the formation of the Long Island Expressway when they were actually plowing through forest. That's a long time ago.
You could say that.
to bridges that make up really iconic DOT structures that we know and travel today. So here's a little bit from Ed.
One of the reasons of being a work in the field is not only to be in the field, but when that job is done, and I get in my car for the last time and take a look at it, I say, we got here was a big forest, and now I got 6 lanes of highway here. And look at these cars going. So, yes, and you'll build a bridge and you look at it and you see the structure and you look at all in your mind, you look at all the aspects from the beginning to the end, from the foundation to the superstructure. There is a good reason to be satisfied, and it is one of the things that keeps me going.
Well, from someone who has been with DOT since before it was technically
DOT.
We want to thank Ed and thank all of the dedicated people who keep New York moving safely and sustainably each and every day. We try to highlight as many as we can over the course of a year, but there's too much. There's too many stories. There's too many people out there who are doing this work who deserve to be highlighted that we'll hopefully get a chance to do in the next year.
And isn't it true, when you and I both first arrived here, we had no idea of the scope of work
I'd say we still
that
don't.
goes on. I know, we're finding out new stuff every day.
Absolutely, yeah. We are digging into to finding out these things each and every day. And I think that's one of the most important things about this podcast is just letting people know the different types of things that are done and how important each and every one of them are to help us live our daily lives so that we don't have to know about them. We don't have to talk about them and see them because they just run smoothly.
It's like the elves coming around and just making everything really nice.
It is
we
exactly
just don't
like
even
that.
know.
I don't know if they would appreciate you calling them that. But hey, listen, maybe they would. Maybe they would.
It's magical.
And I also do want to thank all our listeners for tuning in each week here to the DOT POD. Without you, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. And Anya, I think I can safely say this is it's at least my favorite part of my job here is getting to travel around, talk to people, and put these shows together with you.
Right. I have a really good time, and thanks for doing this with me, Josh.
It
really
has been a pleasure. It's been 2 years, 2 years down. Who knows how many more to go? We certainly will have more stories, more people, more projects to talk about in the year to come, and I look forward to it. But if you listening have any ideas of people or projects that you want highlighted, you want us to talk about, good stories, let us know. Podcast at dot.ny.gov. That's the easiest way to get in touch with us. It's podcast at dot.ny.gov.
And what if you want to listen to these episodes in full, Josh?
If you want to listen to these episodes in full, if you haven't already, you can always find us wherever you find your podcast. So, Anya, thanks again for another good year. Thanks again for 2 years total, and for more years to come.
Oh, I loved it. Really, this has really been the highlight of our work here for me.
So she's Anya. I'm Josh. After 2 years, we'll be right back here on the DOT POD.